21st of January 2026, ACC have released a new proactive data release looking at the number of treatment injury claims lodged with ACC and the number accepted. And one of the first things to realise about this, ACC's received 4,495 claims for COVID vaccine injury. Of these, 2,693 have been declined. That means that they have accepted 1,779. So that gives us an approximately decline rate still of 60%. And the other thing to realise is that even though they've received nearly 4,500 claim applications, that number is not representative of the number of New Zealanders who have sustained a serious injury from a COVID injection. We know from an OIA that to the end of November 2024, and I'm going to find this OIA and send it to you because I need to check that. I think it's November 2024. MedSafe had received over 20,500 serious adverse event reports for COVID jabs. So serious means requires hospitalisation, a serious medical injury and potentially a permanent injury. So when you have 4,495 claim applications, you can see that number in no way equates to the number of actual serious injuries. So what's happening here is that many seriously injured people can't even find a doctor to lodge the ACC claim for them. I know that because we receive those messages all the time from people saying, my doctor refuses to lodge a claim. So we've got that huge attrition rate there between the actual number of injuries and the resulting number of claims lodged. And then we have this further huge attrition in terms of people finding help with a 60% decline rate. So those are a couple of things that are really important to notice.
And what about the 6 deaths, Lynda? It's an upgrade from what we publicly heard admitted previously, but obviously there's many more than that.
Yeah, and it's funny because that number keeps jumping around. I got an OIA just several weeks ago saying 7 deaths accepted, and I see it's now downgraded to 6. So I'm not quite sure what the story is there, but I do have an OIA that said 7. This proactive release now says 6. But again, that means nothing. Like we know from an OIA we got 2 weeks ago that MedSafe have now received 204 post-COVID vaccine death reports. And the majority of those reports, we asked for a breakdown of the reporters, and the majority of them are doctors, nurses, pharmacists and vaccinators. So medical people that believe that they need to report this because they believe potentially there's a link. So 204 deaths reported. Many of those deaths have not even had a post-mortem. Yeah. The elderly don't get a post-mortem. They just have their jab, die 3 days later, and that's the end of it. The ones in the rest home died of natural causes.
And we also know, don't we, Lynda, that reports to MedSafe generally captures only about 5% of overall injuries or deaths. Right.
Well, it's interesting because that's what they write on their website and everything, that 5% that I quote a lot. But again, we've just got a new OIA where we asked them about the underreporting rate, and we asked them whether they'd done any studies or research to determine it. Yeah. And they came back saying they have no idea what the underreporting rate is for COVID vaccines, and they have not done a study and they don't intend to do one.
Okay. And finally, Lynda, have you seen any reporting of this around this proactive release in the mainstream media at all? It's about 3 weeks old now, isn't it? A couple of weeks old. Anyway.
Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. A couple of other things to note is that Ali Cook's actually gone back with a new OAA because we are almost certain that this 16.8 million does not include permanent injury claims, which are now starting to come through. Okay. So people have been injured long enough now that they're filing, without an improvement, that they're filing permanent injury claims. We know about 18, somewhere between 14 and 18 of those have actually been accepted already. But that payment amount is not included in this declaration.
Yeah, right. So these are people who don't expect to recover in their lifetimes.
Yeah, they've got to have a serious injury that has been stable for at least 3 years, stable as in no recovery. Yeah. And then they can apply for permanent injury compensation, which is a lump sum. So that's going to have a long tail of expense, and that's just starting to come through now, and we don't believe that that payment amount is included because they haven't made any reference to it. It's not included in this proactive release. Okay. The other thing to notice with this is if you have a look on page 7, there's a graph that says number of COVID vaccination claims received by time to lodgement. In other words, how long was it from sustaining the injury to lodging the claim with ACC? And you'll see the towering blue bar way above all the others is 8 months. Okay. So it's taken people 8 months or more to find a doctor that will give them a diagnosis that they're harmed by the jab and then will file a claim.
Wow.
That's what that says, that graph. It's worth looking at that graph. And we know that while they only go out on this graph, they only show out to 8 months. We know that if they went out to like 2 or 3 years, there'd still be a towering blue bar because we get those emails from people. Just before Christmas, we had a whole bunch of people contact us. They'd just been diagnosed with vax injury and they sustained the injury in 2021, wow. In February, March, April 2021. So it's taken them 5 years to find a doctor that will confirm that this is a vaccine injury.
And do you believe that there would be people walking around out there with vaccine injury, but it's just never occurred to them that it's the vaccine?
Oh, they're the majority. The ones that even think, oh my God, was this my jab? And then go through this whole hellish process, finding a doctor, getting a claim. They're the tip of the iceberg. The majority are walking around having zero understanding that their, profound decline in health in the last 5 years is anything to do with the jab. So what I'm saying is that this data really means nothing. In terms of it representing the reality of what's happening, it means nothing.